The scene is almost comical if it weren't so profoundly revealing. A human, bleeding from a wound that would send most creatures into shock, casually remarks, "It's just a scratch." And the alien medic, a being from a species that has likely cataloged every conceivable form of trauma across 1,000 worlds, simply faints, collapses, overwhelmed not by the gore, perhaps, but by the sheer, unadulterated, almost terrifying resilience implied in that simple, dismissive statement. This isn't just a funny anecdote from a hypothetical future. This is a metaphor, a brutal, unflinching mirror held up to what you are, what you're capable of, and perhaps what you've forgotten you possess. Today, we're not just dissecting a phrase. We're dissecting an entire mindset, an ancestral power thrumming within your DNA, a capacity for endurance so profound it can literally break the minds of those who don't share it. We are going to explore the raw, unvarnished truth of your inherent toughness, why the universe itself might be stunned by it, and how you can reclaim and weaponize this just a scratch mentality to dominate every aspect of your modern life. Forget your perceived limitations. Forget the narrative of fragility society often sells you. You are built from sterner stuff than you can possibly imagine, and it's time to remember that. The very essence of that statement, "It's just a scratch," when faced with something clearly more significant, speaks volumes about the human spirit. It's not about delusion, it's about perspective. It's about an internal benchmark for suffering and damage that is set extraordinarily high. Think about it. What does it take for you to truly consider yourself incapacitated? For some, it's a minor inconvenience. For others, it's a level of adversity that would make that alien medic require a medic of its own. This isn't about glorifying recklessness, but about recognizing an innate capacity to absorb, endure, and continue. This is the bedrock of Stoic philosophy played out in real time. The understanding that external events, even physical harm, are one thing, but our judgment and response to them are entirely another. The human in that scenario isn't denying the injury, they are denying its power over them. They are choosing strength, choosing continuance, choosing to define the terms of their own reality. Let's first break down the anatomy of this just a scratch phenomenon. Physically, humanity is a paradox. We seem soft, unarmored compared to many creatures. Yet our history is one of survival in the harshest environments, of pushing physical boundaries, of healing from wounds that by all rights should have been final. Our ancestors didn't have advanced medical facilities for every cut and bruise. They had grit. They had immune systems forged in fire. They had a biological imperative to keep going because stopping meant death. That legacy is still in you. The capacity to mend, to scar over, to adapt. Modern medicine is a marvel, but it can also make us forget the raw healing power resident within our own cells, the sheer tenacity of our physical forms. We've outsourced our trust in our bodies to a degree that we no longer intuitively grasp what they can withstand. But the physical is only half the story. The psychological component is where the true power lies. The mind that looks at a gaping wound and thinks inconvenience rather than catastrophe is a mind forged in a different kind of crucible. This is the mind that has mastered the art of non-catastrophization. It's the mind that understands that pain is a signal, not a full stop. It's a mind that has, consciously or unconsciously, decided that its mission, its purpose, its drive, is more important than the immediate sensation of discomfort. This is mental toughness in its purest form. It's the warrior who fights on, the athlete who pushes through the pain barrier, the entrepreneur who faces crushing setbacks and gets back up. The alien medic fainted because its species, perhaps, has a psychological framework where such a disconnect between severe stimulus and minimal reaction is inconceivable. They see the data, the torn flesh, the blood loss, and their protocols scream, "System failure imminent." The human sees the same data and thinks, patch it up, let's go. Why would an alien, presumably advanced, be so floored? Because human resilience, when truly activated, defies logical, detached assessment if your baseline for normal is different. Imagine a species that evolved in a perfectly safe, controlled environment. Minimal threats, maximum comfort. Their pain threshold would be incredibly low. A paper cut might be a medical emergency. Their psychological response to injury would be one of immediate cessation of activity, of prioritized, intensive care. Now, confront that being with a human who has, for instance, broken a bone during a critical task, and merely splinted it themselves to continue. The alien isn't just seeing a medical anomaly, it's seeing a philosophical one. It's seeing a creature that operates on a different set of rules regarding self-preservation and mission focus. It's witnessing a fundamental disregard for what it considers crippling limitations. This is the core of your untapped power. You operate under a set of internal rules that can, if you choose, make you seem almost supernatural to those who live by more timid codes. This inherent toughness, however, is a flame that can be dimmed by disuse. Modern life, for all its conveniences, often insulates us from the very experiences that would temper and sharpen this resilience. We live in climate-controlled boxes. We summon food with a tap of a finger. Discomfort is an enemy to be vanquished with a pill or a purchase, not a teacher to be learned from. And this is where the brutal truth comes in. Many of us have allowed our just-a-scratch mentality to atrophy. We've become the alien medic, fainting metaphorically at challenges our ancestors would have shrugged off. A harsh word feels like a mortal wound. A minor setback feels like the end of the world. We catastrophize, we ruminate, we allow our energy to be drained by things that, in the grand scheme of our inherent strength, truly are just scratches. Think about the language we use. I'm dying when we're slightly tired. It's a disaster when a plan goes slightly awry. I can't handle this when faced with moderate stress. This is the language of cultivated weakness. This is the antithesis of the human in our title. The alien medic fainted because it encountered a paradigm of strength it couldn't compute. We risk becoming a society that faints at its own shadow because we've forgotten the steel in our spines. The consequences are dire. A population easily manipulated by fear, lacking the fortitude to pursue difficult goals, quick to give up, and perpetually anxious. Is this the legacy you want to embody? Or do you want to reclaim that primal power, that almost shocking level of resilience that is your birthright? Reclaiming this power isn't about seeking out physical injury. It's about fundamentally shifting your internal response system. It's about recalibrating what you consider a serious problem. The first step is a brutal audit of your current reactions. For the next week, observe yourself. When you feel stressed, overwhelmed, or like giving up, ask yourself, is this a legitimate, life-altering crisis, or is this, in the grand scheme of what a human can endure, just a scratch? Be honest. You'll likely find that 90% of your daily agonies fall into the latter category. This isn't to invalidate your feelings, but to contextualize them against the backdrop of your immense, inherent capacity for endurance. The problem isn't the scratch, it's your overblown reaction to the scratch. Next, you must consciously practice enduring discomfort. Start small. The cold shower that you dread, that's a scratch, do it anyway. The difficult conversation you've been avoiding, that's a scratch, have it. The workout that feels too hard, push for one more rep. The initial burn is just a scratch. Each time you willingly face and move through discomfort, you are rebuilding that calloused resilience. You are teaching your nervous system that you are not made of glass. You are reminding your ancient DNA of what it means to be human. This is about expanding your tolerance, not just for physical pain, but for emotional friction, for mental exertion, for the sheer grit required to achieve anything worthwhile. Embrace the Stoic principle of focusing on your response, not the event. The Stoics didn't pretend bad things don't happen. They just argued that our suffering comes less from the things themselves and more from our judgments about them. The human says it's just a scratch, not because the wound isn't real, but because their judgment is that it will not define their state or stop their progress. This is a mental martial art. You are parrying the debilitating impact of an event by reframing its significance. A job loss is not the end, it's a redirection. A rejection is not a statement of your worthlessness, it's a data point. A failure is not a final verdict, it's a lesson. These are all in the context of a life lived with true fortitude, just scratches on the path to something greater. Consider the energy implications. Catastrophizing, complaining, wallowing in minor setbacks, these are massive energy drains. They bleed you dry. The human who dismisses a serious wound as a scratch isn't just being tough, they are conserving vital energy. They are refusing to allocate precious mental and emotional resources to unproductive despair. Their focus remains outward on the mission, on the next step. When you adopt this mindset, you reclaim vast reserves of energy that you were previously squandering on overthinking and overreacting to trivialities. This energy can then be channeled into creation, into problem-solving, into relentless forward movement. This is energy mastery, directing your power where it serves you, not where it weakens you. Let's explore this alien medic perspective further. What if this entity represents not just another species, but the softer, more coddled aspects of our own society, or even the weaker parts of our own psyche? When you decide to push your limits, to endure what others deem unendurable, you will inevitably encounter resistance from others who are comfortable in their mediocrity, or from that little voice in your own head that screams for comfort and ease. They will faint at your audacity, your discipline, your refusal to be average. They will tell you you're too intense, that you're doing too much, that you should take it easy. This is the alien medic trying to get you back on its operating table of perceived limitations. Your response must be the calm, unwavering assertion of your own higher standard. Your internal "it's just a scratch" becomes a shield against the negativity and limiting beliefs of others, and even against your own past self. This mindset is also intensely attractive, not in a superficial sense, but in the sense of drawing power, respect, and opportunity towards you. People are intrinsically drawn to strength, to resilience, to those who seem unfazed by chaos. A person who can take a hit, metaphorically or literally, and keep moving forward possesses a gravity. They become a source of stability and inspiration for others. This isn't about being emotionally unavailable or pretending pain doesn't exist. It's about processing it efficiently and not letting it derail you. It's about demonstrating that you are a force to be reckoned with, someone whose resolve is not easily broken. In a world increasingly defined by anxiety and fragility, the individual who embodies the "just a scratch" philosophy becomes a beacon. Let's apply this to specific areas. Negative thinking, your own negative thoughts, are often the deepest wounds you inflict upon yourself. I'm not good enough. I'll never succeed. This is too hard. These are not mortal blows, they are self-inflicted scratches, magnified by fear into gaping chasms. Apply the principle. Acknowledge the thought, okay, there's that "I'm not good enough" scratch again. Then diminish its power. It's just a thought, it's a scratch, it doesn't define reality. I'm moving forward anyway. This act of cognitive downplaying, repeated consistently, rewires your brain to stop giving these thoughts ultimate authority. Procrastination and lack of discipline, the initial resistance to starting a difficult task, the lure of distraction, these are tiny, almost microscopic scratches on your will. Yet how often do they incapacitate you for hours, days, even weeks? The alien medic in your mind faints at the thought of sustained effort. You must become the human who says, this discomfort of starting, this urge to quit, it's just a scratch. The real wound is regret and unrealized potential. Then you act. You push through those first few minutes of resistance, knowing that momentum lies on the other side. Fear of failure or rejection, this is perhaps where the just a scratch mentality is most transformative. For many, the fear of failing or being rejected is a paralyzing specter. It prevents them from starting businesses, from asking for promotions, from pursuing relationships, from living fully. But what is failure truly? It's an outcome. It's data. It is, in the grand narrative of a resilient life, a scratch. It stings, yes. It might even leave a scar. But it is not fatal unless you allow it to be. The human who can take a failure, learn from it, and say, all right, that was a scratch, what's next, is unstoppable. They have an immunity to the most common killer of dreams. Truths about interpersonal dynamics, particularly with women or in any competitive social landscape. Confidence, groundedness, and resilience are universally attractive qualities. The individual who is easily rattled, who crumbles under pressure, who treats minor social setbacks as personal catastrophes, telegraphs weakness. Conversely, the one who remains centered, who can handle criticism or disinterest with equanimity, who doesn't get thrown off their game by external validation or lack thereof, that person has an undeniable presence. Their internal it's just a scratch approach to social friction means they're not needy, not desperate for approval. This self-possession is magnetic. The alien medic, representing a more fragile or reactive emotional state, faints in the presence of such stoic emotional strength. Consider the brutal truths. This title forces us to confront about modern weakness. Comfort has made us soft. We are evolutionary marvels designed for adversity, yet we've engineered lives that often shield us from it, leading to atrophied resilience. The scratch feels like a mortal wound because our tolerance is so low. Emotional fragility is rampant. We are encouraged to pathologize every discomfort, to see ourselves as victims of circumstance rather than agents of our own response. The alien medic is the therapist who validates every minor upset as a major trauma, rather than teaching coping and strength. We underestimate our innate capacity. The human in the title isn't a superhero. They're tapping into a baseline human capability. We've just forgotten it exists within us. The fainting alien is our own shock when we occasionally witness this raw power. The pursuit of ease is a trap. Constantly seeking to avoid difficulty or pain ensures we never build the strength to handle real adversity when it inevitably arrives. The scratch you avoid today makes you less prepared for the genuine wound tomorrow. To truly embody this, you need to cultivate habits that reinforce it. Habit 1, deliberate exposure to discomfort. As mentioned, cold showers, hard workouts, fasting safely, public speaking if it scares you, tackling the task you least want to do first. These are training grounds. Each small victory over your desire for ease builds the muscle of resilience. Habit 2, ruthless reframing. When faced with a setback, immediately challenge your initial catastrophic interpretation. Ask, how can I view this as just a scratch, and what is the path forward? Write it down if you have to. Force the perspective shift. Habit 3, study and model resilience. Read biographies of people who overcame immense odds. Study Stoic philosophy. Surround yourself with individuals who embody strength, not perpetual victimhood. Their mindset will rub off. Habit 4, physical discipline. A strong body often forges a strong mind. The discipline of regular, challenging physical exertion teaches you to push past perceived limits, to tolerate discomfort, and to understand that pain is often temporary. This translates directly to mental and emotional resilience. You learn that the burning in your lungs or muscles is just a scratch on the way to a new personal best. Habit 5. Control your information diet. Constant exposure to news cycles designed to provoke fear and outrage, or social media feeds that promote unrealistic comparisons and highlight drama, will erode your sense of calm and control. Be selective. Protect your mental space so you can maintain perspective. The alien medic fainted not just at the wound, but at the attitude. It was the nonchalance, the utter lack of drama, the implied message. This is not enough to stop me. That is the attitude you must cultivate. It's a quiet, internal declaration of invincibility, not that you can't be harmed, but that you cannot be fundamentally defeated by anything less than your absolute limit, a limit far beyond what you currently imagine. Think of the implications for long-term goals. Any goal worth achieving will involve setbacks, frustrations, periods where progress seems impossible. These are the wounds of the journey. The average person encounters these, declares them fatal, and gives up. The person with the just a scratch mentality assesses the damage, makes adjustments, and keeps moving. They understand that the path to success is paved with these scratches. They are rites of passage, not stop signs. This isn't about toxic positivity or denying reality. It's about radical acceptance of the reality of the challenge, coupled with an even more radical belief in your ability to meet it and overcome it. The pain is real. The difficulty is real. But your capacity to endure and adapt is more real, more powerful. The alien medic operates on a logic of fragility. You must operate on a logic of anti-fragility, not just resisting shocks, but becoming stronger because of them. What if the alien is simply a metaphor for a different state of being, perhaps a future self looking back at a past, weaker version, or a higher consciousness observing our everyday human struggles? The point remains. Human potential for resilience is extraordinary, almost beyond comprehension from a perspective of pure logic or comfort-seeking. The fainting signifies a paradigm break. To make this practical, let's consider a scenario. You're working on a major project. You hit a massive, unexpected roadblock. Your funding is cut, a key team member quits, your initial strategy is proven flawed. The alien medic, part of your brain, or the concerned but weak-willed colleague might scream, "It's over. This is a disaster. We're ruined." That's the fainting spell. The "it's just a scratch" human, however, takes a deep breath, acknowledges the severity. Okay, this is a significant blow. This is not what we wanted. Then the crucial reframe. But is it fatal to the ultimate vision? No, it's a serious wound to this phase, to this approach. It's a major scratch on our current plan. What do we need to do to patch this up, learn from it, and find another way forward? What resources remain? What new strategies can emerge from this? This isn't about pretending the wound isn't deep. It's about refusing to let it be the end of the story. It's about focusing on recovery and adaptation, not on the pain of the injury itself. This requires a deep well of self-trust. Trust that you can figure things out. Trust that you can endure the discomfort of uncertainty. Trust that you have hidden reserves of creativity and strength that will only manifest when truly tested. This trust isn't built by avoiding scratches. It's built by accumulating them, by surviving them, by learning that each one makes you harder, smarter, and more capable. The power of the phrase, "it's just a scratch," also lies in its inherent optimism, not a naive optimism, but a battle-hardened one. It implies, "I've been through worse," or "I am capable of handling this and worse." It's a statement of capability projected into the future, based on an unshakable belief in one's own resilience. This is the core of an unstoppable mindset. This is not a call to ignore genuine medical needs or to suppress emotions in an unhealthy way. The human in the story would likely get the wound stitched up after the immediate crisis or mission objective was handled, or if it was clear that not doing so would impede the mission. It's about priority and perspective. It's about not letting the immediate overwhelm the ultimate. It's about processing emotions constructively, rather than letting them dictate your actions or incapacitate you. Acknowledge the pain, the fear, the frustration. Okay, this hurts like hell. This is infuriating. And then, but it's just a scratch on my resolve. Now, what needs to be done? Consider the areas in your life where you are currently fainting. Where are you allowing relatively minor issues to derail you? Is it in your career, where a critical comment from your boss sends you into a spiral of self-doubt for days? That's a scratch. Is it in your relationships, where a disagreement or a period of distance feels like an impending breakup? Often that's a scratch. Is it in your personal development, where falling off your diet or missing a workout for a day makes you want to abandon your goals entirely? That's a scratch. Each of these is an opportunity to practice, to stand firm, assess realistically, and say, this is not the end. This is manageable. This is just a scratch on the larger canvas of my life and my goals. The modern world often celebrates victimhood and amplifies sensitivity. To choose the just a scratch mentality is a rebellious act. It's a declaration of personal sovereignty over your internal state. It's choosing to be the captain of your soul, not a passenger tossed about by every wave. This is the ultimate self-improvement, forging an inner citadel so strong that the arrows of misfortune either bounce off or, if they penetrate, are treated as mere scratches that will heal, making the structure even stronger. The alien medic represents the conventional, the expected, the normal reaction to severe stimuli based on a certain baseline. Your goal is to make your baseline for resilience so high that the conventional becomes astonished. Not for the sake of shocking anyone, but for the sake of unlocking your own profound capabilities to navigate life's inevitable challenges with grace, power, and an unwavering focus on what truly matters. Let the image of that fainting alien medic be a reminder that within you lies a capacity for toughness that can stun the uninitiated. A reminder that what often feels like a crippling blow to your sensitive, modern self is, by the ancient standards of your lineage, often just a minor impediment. Your ancestors faced down saber-toothed tigers and ice ages. You can handle a tough day at the office, a difficult conversation, or a setback in your plans. You are the descendant of survivors, of warriors, of pioneers who looked at life-threatening injuries, and because they had to, found a way to keep going. That same blood, that same spirit, that same almost terrifying resilience is in you. So the next time life hits you, the next time you feel overwhelmed, the next time that voice of doubt or fear screams that it's too much, I want you to picture that scene. The human calm amidst chaos, the advanced alien utterly undone by a level of toughness it cannot comprehend. And I want you to ask yourself, which one are you going to be? Are you going to faint at the first sign of real pressure? Or are you going to look adversity in the eye, acknowledge its presence, and with a will of iron declare, it's just a scratch, and then do what needs to be done? The choice, as always, is yours. But understand this, the capacity for that monumental alien-fainting toughness is not something you need to acquire. It is something you need to uncover. It is already there, deep within you, waiting for you to have the courage to call upon it. Stop underestimating yourself. Stop coddling your weaknesses. Start demanding more from yourself because you are capable of delivering it. The universe isn't impressed by fragility. It responds to strength, to resolve, to the indomitable spirit that sees a wound and thinks only of the healing and the continuation of the mission. Embrace your inheritance. Become the human who makes even the aliens faint. That is your potential. That is your power. Now go out and live it.